As INEC assures Nigerians of a successful upload and transmission of results, there are concerns that these results could be tampered with. Earlier this week, the government announced that it successfully foiled over 12 million cyber attacks during the presidential election. So the question is, how secure are INEC servers for Saturday's polls? We're joined now by the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Pantami. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight tonight. Well, first off, let's get your reaction to some cybersecurity experts who are saying that the numbers that you put out there, almost 13 million cyber attacks in 4 days, they're questioning the veracity of that. They're saying it's almost impossible. And also, how prepared really were you for these cyber attacks?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to all of you and to our listeners and viewers. Firstly, if you say to me, experts have said with regards to the figures, then I will ask you a $1,000 question. Who are the experts? What are the variables you use to define people as experts in cybersecurity? And secondly, with all sense of humility, Isa Ali Ibrahim is into research of cybersecurity, and I'm the first even fellow of the Chartered Institute of Information Security, not in Nigeria, but in Africa, with a population of 1.4 billion people approximately. I happen to be the first fellow of the Chartered Institute of Information Security, not in Nigeria, in Africa. Secondly, I have been conducting research in cybersecurity for 20 years today. Thirdly, these figures are not from me alone, but from 3 institutions of government. And these figures are not computed in any way with our pen, but rather they are clearly on the dashboard of these 3 important institutions of government that have been mandated to monitor what was happening online before, during, and even after election. So if you say to me, experts, who are the experts? Because sometimes you, our friends in media, any person that can come on television and talk, you consider him as an expert. Anybody who get registered with just a professional body as a member is an expert. Some people will convert in one place and create their body and register as a body. You will say they are experts. Who are the experts? This is the most important question, because I cannot waste my time discussing something that is not reliable. You should understand that if somebody releases an evidence, you cannot counter evidence with opinion, but you can only counter an argument with a better evidence. Secondly, there is an issue of confirmation bias. Some people they have their mindset on certain matters. So if there is confirmation bias, and if there is an inconvenient evidence that is challenging that confirmation bias, somebody will feel very uncomfortable. Why? Because of that confirmation bias he was looking for. And now the inconvenient evidence is challenging his confirmation bias. So because of this, before you say experts argued, then I will ask, who are the experts? What are the parameters did you use to identify them as experts? This is something that is very important. However, the figures we have mentioned, I stand by that within around 4 days or thereabout, we were able to gather approximately 12,988,978 incidences in Nigeria by collecting the record from 3 institutions of government. Number 1 is from the National Information Technology Development Agency, Computer Emergency Readiness and Response Team. Number 2 from Nigerian Communications Commission, Computer Security Incidents and Response Team. And number 3 from Galaxy Backbone Limited Security Operations Center. These 3 institutions that collected the data and presented to my office officially has vindicated that. And there is no doubt about this. If I am to react to some of the issues, firstly, as I earlier said, if you say experts, you need to convince me who are the experts. If they are experts, invite them on television. I will send my technical team managing this cybersecurity to come and challenge them. Organize a debate where I will send my team from NIDA, NCC, and Galaxy to come with the figures and everything on television. Let them come and challenge them. Most of the people reacting, they only go online and search that there is an attack after 39 seconds.
Right.
Somebody sent me an article written by somebody.
Dr. Pantami, just allow me comment here. I don't think the question here is about, no one is doubting your competence, Dr. Pantami. Let's quickly put that. Now, quickly here, Nigerians are excited you are live on television. And if you give us a clear sense of what you mean by 12 million cyber attacks. Specifically, is it an attack on INEC facility or some other government website?
Oh, thank you very much. Firstly, it is not an attack on only INEC. It is the general attack in Nigeria. Sometimes it could be personal attack to some citizens' email, sometimes to public sector's portal, some to certain websites in public sector, some in the private sector. So these figures are not in any way indicating attack on INEC. And that is why in the statement released by my spokesperson, there is no place where she said attack on INEC. This is the cumulative attacks on Nigeria and incidences. And what is available usually online when attacks are being reported globally. I happen to be, as I said, a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Information Security, and I am also a stakeholder at the International Telecommunication Union. I am part of the team that is bringing out even the statistics of global attack. I am part of the team that is even determining the global ranking on cybersecurity annually. So I'm not speaking from outside. Even the reports that are being released online, I am part of the people that are working on the report. So these attacks are not in any way restricted to INEC, but the general attacks in Nigeria. And two, some of the attacks that are being reported online, they are major attacks. We have major attacks, we have minor incidences. So these statistics, not about only the major, but the entire incidences, whether it is an email attack or an attempt maybe to hack somebody's email, or an attack most probably to attack an institution website, or an attack against a portal or a server. This collectively, the total number of attacks that happen in Nigeria, major attacks and minor incidences collectively. But usually when we are determining global ranking, major attacks are the ones that are usually being considered. Minor attacks usually are discarded. But in this situation, we captured all of them. And for example, let me show you the most reliable way to get the statistics. When I said the team, I said, don't send me the statistics on spreadsheet or Excel. I want to see the record on the dashboard. That dashboard is capturing the statistics 24/7, and you will see the figures are changing. So they have been sending me even the image from the dashboard, which they cannot alter in any way. Let me give you just one example of NIDA. I hope you will be able to see it on the screen. It's just a simple one. This is an attack for only one day from the dashboard of NIDA Cybersecurity Center. And this is 1 out of 3. You can see 4,311,474. This is from the dashboard, you can see here. 4,311,474. This is an attack from one institution out of 3. And this is only for one day. And you can see like a pie chart under will indicate to you the different type of attacks. This for website, this is phishing attack, this is brute force, this is email attack, this is IPS attack, this is injection attack, this is denial of distributed denial of service attack. So it will show you everything. So it's not about computation that we are doing personally. No, it is clearly on the dashboard. Even a layman can come and see what is happening globally. So because of this, these are the cumulative of all the incidences in the country, major ones, minor incidences, public, private, individuals, and many more. And this, as I said, they are computed automatically. There is no need for anybody to intervene in the process of the computation. And for example, before this 4.3 million, 2 days before, the total number of attacks in Nigeria before was 995 that was captured. Then the second day, prior to the election, that number increased to 1.7 on the dashboard. The second day, it dropped to 1.023. And the next day, 4.3 million. So you will even discover, and now it is dropping. It was during the election that it went high. And another issue, somebody could show you another dashboard with lesser number. This is to show to you that facilities are not the same. Some facilities are highly sophisticated. They can monitor any incident, but some of them are obsolete.
Fantastic.
For example,
very quickly before we wrap, Nigerians go to the polls tomorrow for the governorship and state assembly elections. Can you reassure Nigerians that you have the capacity to ensure that there will be no glitches as experienced during the presidential election of February 25?
My sister, firstly, it is not my responsibility to assure Nigerians. It is the responsibility of INEC to assure Nigerians. Our own work, when INEC needs our intervention, we are available 24/7 to provide the intervention that is required. But as INEC claims, they are independent. So I have no power to go into their work and take decision. But my own work, as far as INEC is concerned, is an advisory role. For example, prior to the presidential and national assembly election, when we identified some challenges with regards to the preparation of election, I personally wrote a letter to the chairman of INEC, drawing his attention to some challenges 2 days to the election. He acknowledged the letter. Within 24 hours, he replied me in writing by appreciating my intervention and advice. And he directed his director ICT to reach out to me immediately for more guidance. For example, even yesterday, 16th of March 2023, I wrote another letter to INEC with 6 major recommendations prior to the commencement of the gubernatorial and state assembly election. 6 major recommendations, and they are very critical. And I couldn't leave my place until my officer returned to me with an acknowledged copy from INEC that the letter has been delivered. So this is my own role. Our own role is only to advise them, but we have no power to direct. And I have no power to ask them to replace this or do this. I can only advise, and I believe the chairman of INEC will admit to you that he received my first letter and he replied, and he directed his ICT staff to reach out to me. On the second one, the letter has been acknowledged, and most probably he could reach out to us today, maybe before we sleep. But the letter has been acknowledged, and I have given 6 major recommendations that I think they are very critical to the success of the election tomorrow. They are very critical. However, I could not be able to disclose, because certain recommendations are highly confidential when it comes to cybersecurity. Not all issues are discussed on the media, and I do hope that this is sufficient.
Okay, quickly here, Dr. Pantami, let's now, looking at the figures, it's still very worrisome to think that that's the amount cumulatively going on in Nigeria. Are there ways the country, through your ministry and such a noble advice you give out, help reduce such attempts, cyber attempts in Nigeria?
Firstly, what I want you to understand, the attacks increase because of the election period. When there is no election, definitely you will not see the same figures. Secondly, all these 3 cybersecurity centers, with all sense of humility, as at 2019, none of them was existed, except an obsolete one at NIDA. But that one of NCC, that one of Galaxy Backbone, and the most recent one in NIDA, all of them has been established by the administration of President Muhammad Buhari. We established them. So prior to establishing them, even the figures, you could not be able to know what was happening exactly on our cyberspace. So firstly, you have to commend our effort, because all the centers had been established from 2020 to 2022. Only within 2 years we established them. But prior to that, we were only relying on figures that are only been mentioned by international bodies. Secondly, after establishing the centers with our effort, you will discover at the global cybersecurity ranking, our performance is improving.
Right, we'll have to leave it there. Professor Isa Pantami is the Minister for Communication and Digital Economy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.